Gremio, they're one of the biggest teams in Brazil. They've won nearly 100 titles across domestic, continental, and even international competitions. But it wasn't always sunshine and caipirinhas for them. In the early 2000s, they went through a period of financial instability and relegation, culminating in 2005, where they played one of the craziest games I've heard of in my life. A game that had the entire existence of the club hanging by a thread. This is the story of the Battle of the Afflicted. Back in 2000, Gremio signed a deal with Swiss company ISL Worldwide, who promised to finance different aspects of the team, like buying players and improving infrastructure. But in true Swiss fashion, they committed financial crimes and went bankrupt. This in turn made Gremio realize that they were in fact very broke too. They owed money to their players, employees, other teams, shit, they probably owed money to me too. And because of that, they were only able to assemble a ragtag squad for the 2004 season. They played like cheeks and got Gremio relegated to Serie B. At the beginning of the 2005 season, the team was in debt 108 million reais. And with less revenue coming in from being in the second division, their money problem threatened to bankrupt Gremio. Promotion became a necessity. So the new president, who now had to deal with the shitstorm left by the last guy, hired a club legend to try and lead them out. But channeling his inner Watford owner spirit, he fired the coach and brought a new guy in before the Serie B season even started. After a slow start, Gremio managed to qualify in the top 8 to move on to the second phase. There, they were able to finish in the top 2 of their group to make it into the final phase. The final phase was a quadrangular with the top 2 teams in the group being promoted and the team in first winning the league. Gremio did well here, sitting top of the table going into the last match day, where they would have to play Náutico, the team in third. If they won, Gremio would be crowned champions. Even if they drew, they would still get promoted. But if they lost, there would be a chance that they wouldn't get promoted, and the fate of their entire club would be at risk. The stakes were high. So with all that said, let's get into the battle. Gremio would travel to Recife to play Náutico in their stadium, Estadio dos Aflitos. And we're in South America, so you know that some bullshit was gonna go down. To prevent Gremio from sleeping the night before the game, Náutico fans honked car horns and set off fireworks outside their hotel. Pretty standard stuff. On the way to the stadium, Gremio's bus was forced to go through Náutico's fans, getting stuff thrown at them and being yelled at the whole way. They even needed police to shield them as they made their way inside. Alright, that's still on par to what you might see in a big game, even in Europe. But when the players got in the away dressing room, it got ridiculous. They entered into a small, cramped space, allegedly no bigger than 10 meters by 5 meters for the whole team and staff. Imagine a cramped New York City apartment party, and that's what they got. Even worse, there was a wall that was installed in the middle of the room, so talking became harder. There were also no extra chairs, so a few people had to sit down on the ground. Oh, and there was a fucking painter just going about his business painting the room. So the entire place stunk of fresh paint. Of course, it was nauseating, so the players tried to air out the smell by opening the door to the field, but lo and behold, they looked at the door and saw fucking padlocks, chaining the door shut. They couldn't access the field for the whole pregame, so they couldn't properly warm up. And as a last fuck you from Náutico, the siren that was supposed to announce when the team had to come out to the field, it was just constantly going off. At this point in my reading, I thought that these guys had enough legal ground to take Náutico to court for unlawful imprisonment. Because goddamn, they pretty much forced the Gremio players to get drunk and lose brain cells. And you wanna know what caused Náutico to do all this? It was because Gremio didn't provide them water in the first game. That's like slapping someone and they respond by kidnapping you and giving you a lobotomy. But finally, with kickoff fast approaching, the police unlocked the door so Gremio could access the pitch, and the game started. Both teams were a bundle of nerves from the beginning, which made the game very stop-start and devolve into a contest of who could kick the shit out of the other more, aka your average CONMEBOL qualifier. And while Gremio had a couple of chances, it would be their defender who would make a grave mistake in the 32nd minute.
Outra bola para a área. Corte feito pelo Domingos. Na batalha o Paulo Matos caiu, pênalti. pênalti para o Náutico. Nas costas. Olha lá, empurra e depois faz a carga com o corpo em cima do jogador.
Okay, I know that he pushes him on the back a bit, and there's a little bit of contact on the attacker's foot, but come on, this dude had to have been practicing for the Beijing Olympics, because what is that? So now, it was Gremio's keeper Galato's time to step up.
Preparado para a cobrança o Bruno Carvalho, pode pintar o gol do Náutico, Bruno Carvalho correu, bateu, na trave! Na trave, a trave salva o Grêmio!
Fuck it, that works too. And after surviving an onslaught of Náutico attacks, Gremio somehow made it into the half still tied. After getting another hit of paint to get them going, the team came out for the second half and wait, is that motherfucking Lucas Leiva? And the game got going again. Both teams went back and forth, trying to find an advantage. Then, in the 75th minute, number 6 Escalona decided to try his hand at basketball in the middle of the game. Unfortunately, he was in the wrong sport. And he also already had a yellow, so he was given a second one because the ref thought that it was an intentional attempt to stop the attack. Now, Gremio had to survive with just 10 men. Náutico smelt blood in the water and kept pushing. They thought it was only a matter of time before Gremio's defense would break.
Ainda mais a pressão, cruzamento para a área, lá vem o sufoco, escapou a bola do Galato, Miltinho passou pelo goleiro, caiu, pediu o pênalti, o árbitro tá olhando ali pro Miltinho, tá entendendo ali, Marcília, que o Miltinho se jogou, e vai pintar...
Okay, that shit was a penalty. The keeper pretty much elbowed his face fighting for the ball, but instead, Náutico's player got a yellow for diving. That was a close call. Gremio needs to lock in now and make sure that they don't make any more mistakes.
Aí a bola pra área, pênalti! Pênalti marcado pelo árbitro, toque de mão do Nunes. O Sandro tá indicando ali que Patrício...
Are you fucking kidding me? This ref, with his infinite generosity, decided to make up for missing the first penalty call by fucking over Gremio with this. His arm is literally tucked into his body. How is that a penalty? The players were understandably angry, but now, my viewers, we dive into absolute chaos. Number 2 Patricio decides that body checking the ref is the best way to deal with the situation and rightly gets sent off. That's the second player gone. And now all hell breaks loose. These guys start crowding and pushing the ref, and they argue him into such a corner that he feels the need to call the damn police to come to the field. But before they get there, he, for God knows what reason, decides to push into one guy, gets rightly pushed back because, was he for real about to get into a fight with a player? You're the ref! But then he responds by sending off the guy that pushed him back, who's number 5, Nunes. During that, 2 players try to kick the ref, because fucking why not, I guess. But the ref just tells them to fuck off? What is even happening anymore? Finally, the horde of police come in and separate the two. Subs start to come on the field, staff, fans, the press, everyone invades. It's absolute mayhem. The game now is stopped while a million things are happening at the same time. The players are still trying to argue with the ref, but the police have formed a barrier around them. The coach and Gremio's president are deciding whether to abandon the game in protest. And in this time, the other game ends with Santa Cruz winning. So now, if Gremio loses, they won't get promoted and will likely go bankrupt. After a bit, the ref gets a police escort to try to restart the game with the penalty. But as he goes to put the ball on the penalty spot, this genius, number 3 Domingos, slaps the ball out of his hand. The ref, fully butthurt now, shows yet another red card. For those counting, Gremio is now playing a 7v11 after having 4 of their players sent off. And now they're just 1 red card away from automatically forfeiting the game. After long discussions, Gremio's players cooled down, realizing that it would be better to play this game out than risk walking off or protesting anymore. Though, their task is now a tough one. Finally, after a delay of 20-something minutes that was caused by a bullshit call, let me remind you, the penalty is allowed to be taken. The only thing standing between Gremio and certain bankruptcy now is, once again, Galato.
Agora sim autorizado o Ademar, preparado para a cobrança. Demora alguns segundos para bater, lá vai o Ademar, correu, bateu! Galato! Galato faz a defesa, salva o Grêmio!
No one can believe this shit. Náutico fans are stunned into silence, Gremio fans are running around celebrating like they've won the Copa Libertadores, and I'm sitting here shocked at how they missed 2 penalties. 2! God has to be a Gremio fan. The subsequent corner is taken, but Gremio clears it. And this absolute madman Anderson, yes, that's Anderson, decides to try and hit Náutico on the counter. Brother, you are down 4 men! He doesn't care though, but he's quickly fouled and the defender is shown a second yellow. So, hey, it's only a 7v10 now. More importantly, Gremio survived. But they still have to play about 10 minutes with a 3-man disadvantage. And wait, what the fuck is happening?
Anderson pode levar para a perna direita, passou! Gol!
Yes, even with that advantage, Náutico somehow had only training cones back on defense. And now the team who's down 3 men is winning 1-0. I love Brazilian football. Gremio would implement prime Simeone Harambal tactics for the rest of the game and would hold off all of Náutico's attacks to win the game and be crowned champions, cementing a return to Serie A in quite the dramatic fashion. This game had everything. Terrible refereeing, drama, police intervention, and an exciting and happy ending. 100 out of 10 game, no notes. So what can we learn from all this? Never give up, I guess? But also, Brazil is a wild fucking place. I hope you guys all enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. Like, subscribe, and take care.